start 2023 with a you can do it. You can do anything you want. And you can even do some stuff you don't want to do, but it's kind of fun anyways. With that said, I just want to talk about business. Business is fluid and creative, and we need to also be fluid and creative. And that's why I am absolutely thrilled beyond belief to introduce you to Mike Stanwood. He is a partner in crime of mine. I have admired him from afar for many, many years. We were not in the same title company for a while, then in the company, then out the company. And I've got just an amazing resource for you. Completely thrilled to talk about this. I'm going to let Mike talk a little bit about himself and what he does. But in the meantime, I want to make sure you know that if you are dealing with investors or smaller builders or people who are coming in from out of state and they're bigger builders, Chicago Title has this for you. We have a huge array of resources and talent and title and escrow people that I will tell you, I can't bet because of compliance, but I would put my money on Chicago Title every day in this department and other departments. So with that, not to put Mike in a tough position, let me introduce you to Mike Stanwood, one of our builder partners and account managers who takes very good care of his clients in the infill part. Now, Mike, correct me on anything I was wrong on.
You were so right. I'm not even sure what I can say at this point. So I'm Mike. I've been in this business 34 years. When I first started, I'll just tell you a little background story about me. And I hope it doesn't come off as narcissistic, because what I'm trying to do is tell you how much I love doing what I do. Even after 34 years, somebody asked me about retirement the other day. I said, absolutely not, especially now, but absolutely not, because I love dealing with the agents and the developers and this niche that I started years ago that I got into because of other people. For it. So I'm an infill builder rep. I do not have big plats. Matter of fact, most of our stuff is 6 units and under. I'm not a DR Horton guy. We have a whole nother department, Corey and his team, that take care of that. I like the little builders. I like the little mom and pops. I like dealing with real estate agents that are also going to get the list backs. That's another thing I'll talk about here coming up, of why I would do it if I was a real estate agent. And first of all, I feel like I'm a tough guy, but I'm not sure I'm tough enough to be a real estate agent. So all love to what you guys do for it. Sometimes I think I'd be home crying in the fetal position. So thank you for doing what you do so we can do what we do. So infill, it really, what I like to call it is it's underutilized properties. And wherever you're at, whether it's Pierce County, King County, Snohomish County, there's a place in the corridor, in the city corridors, that all have infill. They might have a different zoning name, but they have a multifamily zoning, and we can help you find those underutilized lots to market to. What I really like about the builders that and I'm going to say it's not 100%, but it's 90 something percent, is if you find the dirt, if you find the lot, we can help you find the builder. If you don't have somebody there, we know who those guys are. We market them. We have them in our pockets, or not pockets, but we know who they are. They like to work with us. We can set you up with builders, teach you as much as we possibly can about how to look at what the cost is, how to approach a homeowner for the purchase. But what I really like is that our builders give those listings back. So if you're a real estate agent, or if I was a real estate agent, I would know that, okay, I got this sale here that I put together, but there's a good chance, as I work with this builder along the way, that in 2 years, I have a 4-unit site or a 6-unit site coming on the market. And the agents that I know that I work with, and there's a lot of them in King County, you can look at their boards, and they, one of them that I just went into yesterday, they have 80 home sales coming up this year from dirt that they acquired and helped acquire in the last couple of years. I think it's pretty amazing. And I will say, builders do not ever take their stuff off the market, very rarely take their stuff off the market. So in this last 3 or 4 months, where retail has really slowed down, and our retail side, I have a retail side too, it's gone down by more than a half. But my builder business, they still continue to put it on the market. They sell it, even if they don't make the money that they originally wanted to or performed a year or two ago, and they're selling it. So it has kept the agents have maintained their money and income, albeit maybe not as much, but it's there. We have maintained our escrow business and they're from infill builders. I got into this because I dropped out of college. My parents were pissed off, and I wanted to be in the real estate business. And Chicago Title hired me not too long ago, 34 years ago. I've recently come back to them, and I love doing what I do. And what we end up doing here is we look at, again, those underutilized properties. And if you are interested in this after we're done talking, I will work with Lisa and our team to get a farm together. Basically, we're taking multifamily properties that have, let's say, a single family home on it. And then our agents are marketing to that owner. And as they get them under contract, they know what builders they have to build a 3-unit site, 4-unit site, etc. We have, and I'm not sure, is everybody pretty much just work in the Tacoma, Pierce County area, or do we have people that market in the Seattle area too?
Seattle, Snohomish.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Perfect.
all the way up to Bellingham and
I
down
love
to
it.
Vancouver.
And over to Squim.
Yeah.
I love it. All great sites. Squim's a great site. Bellingham has really blown up for
And
it.
Spokane too.
Spokane. I personally still like Tacoma. I've always liked Tacoma. I kind of grew up in that area. So, but in the city of Seattle, they're starting to do it more and more. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tacoma comes around with the code here. I know that Kirkland and Redmond are starting to do it, where that any single family site, single family home, is now a 3-unit site, period. Doesn't have to have a minimum square footage. It obviously has to work to get those units in, but what we're really seeing now is our agents market, again, underutilized single family homes instead of multifamily areas. And they're really selling out fast. They plan and permit within 6 months. The builds are fast. So that's been our biggest thing. And it's going around and finding undervalued homes. Let's say they're close to tear down or huge remodels. You can go and do a farm with Lisa. Our guys on the backside will help, that show you all these different lots, all single family lots, and all of them have the single family ADU DADU. They can all be done that way. Does everybody know what an ADU DADU is? I'll go through it real quick then. So the ADU is an attached dwelling unit. It's to be attached via corner or some little attachment to the main existing house. And the DADU is the detached accessory dwelling unit. And that's a single that's in the back, usually off the alley. It can be 1,000 to 1,200 square feet. Agents love marketing this right now. It is also an added value for the mom and pop owner because their property just went from a single family to a multifamily, and they they have added value. It's worth more money to them. Some of the things that Lisa has asked me to talk about is things that I can give you a kind of an overall, but I'm not sure the scale slides all the time, which is the fees to build and how much it costs to build. Right now, I think City of Seattle is about $250 a square foot, but sometimes in certain areas it could be 300 a square foot. And if you go down, you know, there's some builders that might be able to build for 220, 230 a square foot.
And Mike, with that question, when you're talking 250 a square foot, are you talking with land, or do we need to add that on top of your cost of your land?
Yeah, that's just to build, no land.
Yeah.
And there's a way, again, as we will always be around. If you go to Lisa, she has our group to talk to. So if you find something along the way, and each property is a little different. Each property is in a different neighborhood. Each property is bigger, smaller. You know, some are flat and easy to build, some aren't. But I'll be more than happy on specific stuff along the way. It's a long-term relationship we have with our agents and builders along the way to help work out the numbers of a value of the raw land.
So Mike, with that, and you're talking about the raw land, what as a broker should these guys be looking at? You mentioned single family, underutilized. So we're looking at fair, poor condition. If they were to try to get that farm, which we talked about, we'll work on it afterwards. But if they were looking at the client that they're trying to work with, what kinds of questions would you ask them? This is a kind of a left field question for you, but I know that you work with a lot of people who wannabes, and I want to make these guys have the right question, one or two questions for those to decipher who's in and who's out.
Yeah. Well, so when you're obviously dealing with the owner and a purchase on there, they're looking at what's the best value of my house, you know, what's the easiest sale. And that's what you have to look at is, here's what your property is worth as raw land. It's a tear down house, and here's what we can get on it. Each is individually different, but really what all builders do is they work backwards. And as an agent, what they want, their expertise from you is they want to know what they can get for new construction per square foot sale out. So then they take that amount, let's say, you know, your total sale out with all 3 units is $2 million. And they know how much it's going to cost them to build it. They want to put in a 20% kind of buffer for profit, or if anything happens, which happens quite a bit, they need a contingency on it. And then that's how they come up with the price for what they will spend on the dirt. So let's say it's a $2 million to the sales out total for new construction in that area. It's going to cost them, let's say, $800,000 to build. Then they're gonna want to put 20% profit in there from the 2 million on it, and then back it out. So then you're looking at it. And I'm sorry, I don't have a calculator here, and I was never good at math unless I had a calculator. But then you're looking at an $800,000, $700,000 sales price on your dirt, and that's really on the buyer's side. When it's a builder, that's all they look at. It really, you don't have to hold hands. Well, they always have to hold hands, but the builders are they just have a set ratio of how they do it. They're going to look at again backwards what the sale out's going to be on it. They want to see comps on new construction per square footage there, and then it's X amount to build that, and then that's what your land's worth after that. And again, if you find anything specific, even, and I was just on vacation last week, but we had somebody coming in. I'm always on I will look at my emails, and then Jolynn and everybody else on our team, and then the builder side of it is always looking at how they can help you as an agent pick up that land for it. So I don't know if that totally answered your question, Lisa, but it's a very simple equation when it comes down to it, which is how much am I going to get for this going out, and then what it's going to cost to build, and then whatever is left over is going to be your acquisition price.
Good. I think it's good. And so with that said, real quick, and I know I'm going off questions, but are there builders who work with people? So let's say you've got somebody who wants to invest in real estate and they think infill is a way to go. Do you have builders who will be hired by those land owners to build this out for them?
No, all of our builders are spec builders. I mean, I'm sure I could find somebody that would build for a fee, but all ours, they want to purchase it. They're going to be the ones that buy it. And they're going to finance it. They're going to plan and permit it, and they're going to build it, and they're going to sell it out. So it's an all-in-one. What they do. There are some companies out there that kind of package it all up. They find the deals, they plan and permit it, architecture, everything else. And then they have a group of builders and financing and investors all together. And then they do that. But for the most part, it's once that builder gets it, they're the ones that control it. They're the ones that will be listing it, etc.
So if you find that package, guys, you can't go off an estimate 250 or 300 or whatever it is in that local area. You've got to add that on top of that because they're going to do it. So down in the Tacoma area, there is a couple people who will do that. And they're, what did you call them, Mike? Fee builders?
Spec builders. So there's for hire bill, and these are my terms, and I'm not even sure if they're totally the correct terms, but it's what we use. There's for hire, which, if you're just building, you find the lot that you want to build your house on, you hire a builder, and that's for hire. And then spec is speculative. So they're the ones that they have the financing, that they actually acquire the lot. They permit it. Let's say it's a 6-unit site. They permit a 3-and-3 townhome package on it, something like that. And they are in control of it all the way through. And they're the ones that then put it up for sale, list it back, sell it when it's complete.
The down south fee builder, one of those guys, I know of them between 25 and 30% on top of the cost. So if
right.
You've got people coming in, make sure that you know that they've got to add that to the top cost, which increases their square footage. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Yep, that's well said. I'm sorry, what else? Is there any other questions on it? I don't want to just go down through this list real quick here. Does anybody have any questions?
Group, if you have anything, just go ahead and place it in the chat, or we've got just a few seconds. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question if you have anything. Was there somebody?
Yeah, Mike, we talked a little bit. I'll keep going until somebody interrupts me. Right now, where are you seeing people and permitting in the area? Is it still Seattle, or have they moved to the east side?
It's everywhere now. Obviously, city of Seattle, when you get into the corridors, just like Tacoma spreads from the corridor, from the main part of the city, same with city of Seattle. But I will say Kirkland, Bellevue has become big. Shoreline, because of a lot of new upzoning along the light rail. They've upzoned a lot in Shoreline, so there's a lot of our builders are up there in those areas. Some of those areas have gone from single family zoning to zoning that'll let you put a 4-story apartment in. So that has been marketed heavily for it. I won't say there's any great area or bad area at all in the city of Seattle. Everybody's building everywhere. But I mean, you know, even some of our builders are down in Federal Way and they're loving it. They're building down there. So I don't really see any slow spots or any, you know, it's really going to be where those builders usually like to work and live, and they want to work closer to their homes. But you know, City of Seattle, and my expertise is King County, but City of Seattle is what makes us our most money on it. The most closings are in the City of Seattle. What I find is even with this last slowdown with the interest rates going up, the builders are still buying. We are still projecting that we have a good 2 years of inventory out there because our guys are still buying, they're still permitting multifamily sites, ADU, DADU sites, etc. So I have not had any of my big builder groups back off at all this last 6, 7, 8 months.
So if you're looking at a lot, are you seeing more ADU DADUs, or are you seeing more multi-units trying to put the 4 and the 6 in a narrower lot? That's my first question. My second question is parking. Are there parking regulations that you know about that Seattle or Ballard or whatever the certain areas have?
Yeah. So the soup du jour is the single family ADU DADUs now. The townhome sites are still, you know, being marketed, and I still see that there's acquisitions on those, but it's so much simpler to plan and permit a single ADU DADU site. It feels like the neighborhoods in these, let's talk about Ballard being a quaint old school Seattle area. It seems like the neighbors are less combative having new construction next door to them with the single ADU DADUs than townhomes being slammed in next to them. So builders like it for all kinds of reasons. One, permits 4 to 6 months. Townhome site, it's a year plus, and they have to hold that, and you know, they're paying interest for that hold. And then it's easier to build on those sites. They're not as tight as the townhome sites. And again, neighbors are a little, you know, they accept the ADU data is a lot better than they do townhomes.
There is a great website. Well, it's a King County Planning that has an amazing package. If you're interested, what I'll do is I'll send it to Candace and Rochelle. It is like DADU ADUs in a box, huh?
Yeah. I will say, you know, for as much as people want to rip on government websites and all of that, is I think the City of Seattle, the DCI, I still call it DPD, Department of Planning and Development. They have a good overlay site. We access those all the time. So what Lisa said, she can get that to you, and I think it helps our agents quite a bit as they're looking at how to market a certain area, what to do. As far as parking goes, they have, the City of Seattle did do away in some areas. It has to be a hub around a major bus stop. You can go online and find these hubs where they don't require parking. All the builders, myself included, as an investor with some of these builders, were super excited about that. But I will say they have not sold out well. Even people who don't drive want some sort of parking strip for their friends that are coming over. Even people who don't drive want a little garage to put their kayak or whatever in. We all thought that the younger millennials, and I'm an old guy, so I can say this now, you know, now that I'm 72, we all thought, oh, the millennials, if they're not driving, they don't need parking spaces. It hasn't worked out like that. There's been a couple projects that have broken even, haven't made money because I believe because they did not provide parking.
Awesome.
That's good. That is, you guys, these are golden nuggets about people coming in and thinking, hey, since there's no parking, I'm going to do that. you as a professional will be able to tell them, I've got evidence to show that it takes longer to close, and it could be less profitable for you, if profitable at all, right?
Right. There's a few questions in the chat here, if I may.
Please.
I think I've got one here. Estimated soft costs for King County. Is there a number for that?
That's a hard one to come up on. You know, it's one of those that it's a what do you call it? It's a moving target. Soft costs are always a moving target. Pretty much now, and after Lisa and I talked last week to kind of talk about this meeting, I went around just to talk to my builders again about, you know, what are their costs here, and what do they put? Soft costs would all be put into the building per square foot. Everybody's still pretty much right about 250 a square foot, and that's ground to the doorknobs being put on. That doesn't include the land acquisition, and it's hard to pin down whether they put their interest carry as a soft cost, you know, as part of their costs of that. But pretty much everybody that I'm talking to says that 250 covers that.
Right.
Other than that, really what it is once you find a deal as you're starting out, or if you've been doing this and done this before, you're going to start finding the builders, and they're going to be the ones, as you start chatting with them, to say, hey, I've got this property. I think call it a pocket listing, or something's coming up, you know, and they'll kind of, as far as I've seen in the builders, I probably represent, or I won't say my team, we must represent at least 70 or 80 infill builders that are all ours.
Wow.
What I see is that they all know that they need their real estate agent. They do not. I rarely see an ego. I think they know that it's all about the acquisition. If you can get it, and you got a good agent working for you, that's how you're going to make the money. So they will help you if you're brand new to this, or new to the infill, wanting to do more new construction. The builders that I see, that I refer to agents all the time, the agents will call me back and go, wow, that guy didn't even know me. And I know that they do, 80 deals a year, but they sure did take their time and sure were nice to me. And I will always say, of course, because you're going to help them in their business, and we all should be nice to each other.
Right.
But that's what you're going to find if you're, and I don't know where any of you are in your business, or if this is new, or you've been doing this before, but I think you'll all find that once you start to get one or two builders that that want to work in a certain area, and we can find all those builders no matter what area they are, that's all part of the public record. And once that introduction is made, and they will take your call when you say, hey, I got a lot for you. If they don't, it's because they have no money. You don't want to talk to them anyhow. So I've had too much coffee this morning, so I'm going to just ramble here.
That's okay.
No, so when you get that builder, that investor, they're the ones that will really start to, hone those little things, saying, yeah, you were right on this. And I don't know, this guy, Mike, that you were talking about, he had it right, other than when we run this, there's a sewer main connection that's going to run 3 blocks and cost us $150,000. So there's other little things that we'll get into, that we can get into on a one-on-one basis here. This is more of just a overall. If I can, I'll give you the straight skinny on this. It's not easy, but it's rewarding for sure. And if that's something you want to do, then that's where you go back to Lisa, and we start a process. One, getting you a farm, whatever neighborhoods you want, and 2, finding out who those builders are in that area that do infill for it, whether we have them or whether we can find them for you. We always want to put together our people.
Oh, okay. And I have, let's see here, another question, like demo costs. That's obviously, I'm sure that's not included in the per square feet, but that's like part of the acquisition.
Yeah, it's part of the acquisition, but demo cost really isn't that much. So I passively invest too. I have rentals and we had a property on Queen Anne, my wife and I, for a while, and it wasn't salvageable. We were trying to restore it. I was surprised. It was maybe a 3,000 square foot home. It cost us $10,000 to demo.
So pretty low. Okay. Awesome.
So that's a nominal, and that's probably put into their per square foot price.
Got it. Possibly. Yeah. Okay, perfect. And then can you talk a little bit about HOA and the new DADU direction?
Yeah, so the townhomes, they rarely ever see an HOA on them. They're single fee. They don't do HOAs. But the new ADU DADUs, because they have shared common areas, a shared wall or two, they're doing HOAs. They're a nominal fee, like usually it's $20 a month, maybe some of them $10 a month for that HOA. I have not seen any buyers bulk at one having to be a condo when they buy, because the ADU DADU, because it's on a single family lot and it's overutilized, you have to do a condo on it. So it becomes condos A, B, and C. I don't see buyers bulking at the condo part of that at all. And I don't see them bulking at the homeowners association. Matter of fact, if you were to ask me, I wish we could go back 20 years to all the townhomes that we've seen built, throughout the city of Seattle, Central District to Capitol Hill, to name all those. I wish they would have done homeowners, because I think they would have kept up their places a little better. As we all know, you could buy next to somebody who doesn't want to do their yard and maintain their yard. For overall, everything's worked out fine, but for the ADU DADUs, there is a HOA, and they spell out, how much maintenance they have to do, when they have to do it, and they hand that over once all the sales are done, all 3 units are done. That handover goes from the builder to the owners.
To the owners. Okay. All right. And then the last question I think I have here is also the porous surface ratios, especially in Kirkland.
Porous surface ratio?
Or actually, I'm not even familiar with the word. Deanna, do you want to jump in? Are you able to speak? No, she's not able to speak. In the chat, impervious surface ratios.
So impervious means it's got to drain. They rarely ever let you pave a driveway anymore. It's got to be an impervious surface. There's certain concrete that lets it drain. They don't want the county and the cities and all the jurisdictions that I know. They don't want big water runoffs coming down, let's say, the old school driveways for it. So impervious space, it means just that. They can't block it with asphalt. So you won't see any asphalt on any of these small infill projects, because it does have to be impervious, period. So that means they can either pour this we've all seen the concrete, it looks bubbly, or put in the little 4x4 pavers, anything that has gaps in that. But that's a requirement that's all of King County that I know. I don't know any jurisdiction that doesn't enforce the impervious situation. So all driveways, any kind of landscaping in that, they have to have drainage. That's just part of the cost.
Everything moving. Okay. Okay, so thinking of how to build 3 units on a lot that has those restrictions, especially slide prone areas in Kirkland.
Well, so slide prone, that's a whole nother We could go on for an hour on slide issues and that, and how builders really shy away from that. Matter of fact, what I have seen is that the offers that come in are so low that there's not a lot left that they can build on, because they know it might cost $300,000 in 3 years to permit any kind of ECA, critical area, slope, whatever, landslide issue there. So the builders, there's enough almost flat lots still out there that the builders that we have shy away from any kind of critical area at all. That being said, they will look at them, but usually what they want is to tie it up without closing on it. They want to tie it up for a good year feasibility. And after that, then they come back with a price once they know what the city or whatever the county, whoever the regulatory person is there, what it's going to require. Pin piles, some of the foundations, are 300 grand before you can even start framing. So the slide area, that's a tricky one. As far as going through and permitting the single ADU and DADU with a driveway that comes in and that's impervious, etc. They're doing it, and I've got all kinds of examples to show you on it, but usually what it is the single. They're almost always looking for a alleyway in the back so that they can put the single family up front along with the ADU to the side, and then the DADU right off the alley with a garage, so you pull in off the alley for them. And they're doing it on lots that some of these lots are 3,000 square feet. I mean, obviously they'd want to, it's always better to do a 4,000 square feet, but we're seeing them on, 3,200 to 35. Sometimes what that does is make it so you can't max out your square footage. They all want to max out what they can get for DADU ADU, but we're seeing them on smaller lots.
So another question is, are there specific cities in Puget Sound that builders tend to stay away from?
Specific cities?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I mean, I think they look at, I'm trying to wrap my brain now. Again, I'm a King County guy, so my expertise comes in King County, but I know you can go over to Redmond and they're building like crazy over there. You can get into Ballard, the Central District. It's if there is an underutilized property somewhere in this world, there's probably investors somewhere that wants it. Is my, even look at, I just had a client, a bigger client, they're the Legacy Capital guys, and they're investors that run their own permitting, and they have maybe 30, 40 builders that work with them. They do the financing and everything else. They just bought a site in Moses Lake that was underdeveloped, and they're now over there developing it. If anybody would ever talk about Legacy, they'd probably say, oh, those guys are Bellevue, Kirkland, Seattle builders, but they're always looking at something. If they can add value to it for themselves and an investor, they're going to take a look at it.
Okay.
Bro.
Let's see here. Here's another one. Carriage House, Issaquah Plateau comes to mind. That's a statement. Let's see here. And then are corner lots more difficult to build on due to setbacks?
Corner lots have, your setbacks change a little bit. So, instead of one side yard, you got two side yards on that. As far as building on a corner lot, everybody likes to build on a corner because it's easier to get to. When you start to get to the middle lots, it starts to get tight. So builders love a corner lot, but as far as setbacks go, there's a couple little extra hoops that you've got to make sure you get. Nothing crazy, not, you know, a foot here, 2 feet here, somewhere there. But all the builders I know love a good corner. I mean, I think about myself just buying retail. I like, you know, if I could get a corner lot and it's got a nice house on it, I'll buy the corner lot.
Right.
Not that I have a corner lot, but I would look at
I
that.
do.
So corner lot, as far as I feel like value goes, is great. They can build on it fine. Got a little more sunlight coming in than slamming two houses, a house on each side of you.
It sounds like to me, my takeaway, not that this is going to be my big niche, but on every opportunity for a listing, there's a great opportunity to take a look at that property and just kind of see if this might be one that would work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, the great thing about, you know, again, and I think we're going to see this ADU DADU go into Pierce County. I know that I know some people that are helping work on that
Right.
with the local construction and planning down in Pierce. I know we've had it here, and it's spread out to Kirkland and everybody else. What it really does for the mom and pop owners that you go to represent as an agent is a lot of more options to make more money on their lifetime investment. You know, as we all look at that, you know, some of these people, this is their savings. This is their life achievement. They've had the house 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. And if you can come in there and say, hey, I think your house might be worth another 100,000 because we can put another unit in the back or something like that, it gives them more options to make money. And as an agent, it gives you more leverage to get that listing, to show your knowledge that you're going to market it however you can to make the most money for your client.
Right. I think we also have heard some information. I know I had listened to somebody in Pierce County who was doing some of the DADUs and septics. Is that something that's kind of a big deal? Is it a kind of stay away from those that have the septic tanks, or are those still open options as well?
Well, we don't have a lot of septic in King County.
Right.
There, especially where they would be doing an infill ADU DADU. I would say, without really knowing or ever hearing of any of my guys having to do that, septic would be a problem. You have setbacks around it. You cannot build over it, etc. Where you got a sewer line, you're just popping a sewer line. So I would definitely say yes for septic if there's a problem. My thought process would be it would be like a lottery if you picked the lottery, if that ever came up and that was a candidate for a single family ADU DADU. If you're on septic there, you're probably in a place more rural that people wouldn't want to buy something with an ADU attached to their house.
Gotcha.
For it. I'm not saying 100%, but 99% sure that. And if that ever came up, I'd love to look at it. And again, after this meeting, you can get a hold of us and our team. Lisa has helped us. We help them. This is my fourth title company. What I love about our sales team is all the salespeople help all the other sales. And where I just came from, that was not the case. So again, I would do anything to help Lisa and any of her clients to get more business. Obviously, it helps our company, but anything for you guys with that. So, you know, it's as far as me just coming and giving you my little feeling on what construction is and how much I like and how I think it's coming through and going to carry us through here the next couple of years. Anything you need when it becomes more specific, you you're looking at a certain area, or you're looking at a very specific property, you can run that through Lisa, and then you'll get an email back from me or through her on it saying, here's what I think, and here's how I think we should go. You should go as a direction. Whether you take it or not, great, but you will always get our help on these kind of lots. And whether it's a septic or anything, I mean, setbacks, corner lot, that corner lot was a great question.
Wetlands? What about wetlands?
So again,
Kind of
so
like that more rural, where our
yeah, it's more
septics are.
rural, and it wouldn't be anything that an infill builder would touch. So wetland would be, let's say, I think somebody was talking about Issaquah Highlands. There's some wetlands, or was wetlands back there. And that takes a long time of mitigation. So that's when your big plat builders, the DR Hortons and all that, they come in and tie up 50 acres, 100 acres, and then they spend 3 or 4 years looking at wetlands, how to mitigate it, what they have to do, retention, et cetera, et cetera. It is not something infill guys do.
Gotcha.
We are a city. We're a city. Like, so the wetlands have already been paved over, 80 years ago. So you don't have to worry about that. Septic, and they're building. As soon as they get a permit, they're building. And permits, again, when you just talk about in city, and I'm not just talking about city of Seattle, it's Tacoma, it's Bellevue, name that, Shoreline even. They know pretty much right as they're closing that they're going for those permits. They don't have to worry about any kind of mitigation, any kind of, any kind of variance, or they know they've got a 4-unit site, a 3-unit site, a 6-unit site. And by the time they even close with you, the permits are already going. So as far as wetlands go, that wouldn't be anything an infill builder would look at, unless, again, it was big enough and cheap enough for them to tie up and hold for years and years and years. Because you have to go through not just local zoning stuff, not just county, but state and federal come into that for wetlands.
And endangered species sometimes, right? So real quick, to go back on the wetlands and the septic, and I'll be brief. On your wetlands, guys, if you have a property that you think is great, but you're noticing that it could have wetlands, or you're looking at the legal description and it says wetlands, call our property research department. We can do wetland overlay maps for you. But I think and Candace can address this, from a legal standpoint, you don't want to discuss what can or can't be done with the wetlands, because it is very jurisdiction oriented, whether it's Pierce County, King, Snohomish, or state of Washington. And there could be something in there. I've seen builders think that they're okay because they knew wetlands of Snohomish. Pierce County has a growth management. It went different, and they got huge fines and a lot of reparation on that. So be careful on that. On the septics are big in Pierce County. My property research team can help you. We can give you the as-built, but you need to work on with the health department. So once again, if you're looking at a piece of property and you're layering and you're trying to permit, you've also got another division of people looking at that property. So time is money. Don't be afraid of it. Just know, throw it out on the table and let everybody expect it, right? So sorry, I guess I wasn't as brief as I thought.
No, I think that's good, because I get a lot of questions. I've got this lot, this property, this piece of property, and I want to know kind of what information that I can, just kind of have at my fingertips. And I'm always kind of trying to direct to our title and escrow teams that can not necessarily have all the information, but additional information that we might not foresee right away. And let's see here. Lastly, and I think I've noticed this, but are cities updating the older infrastructure to accommodate for these expansions? Are you seeing that? I mean, I feel like Pierce County, Tacoma, I think I've noticed a bit of it. I think they're leaving it up to some of the homeowners too. But are you seeing that a little bit more, or not so much?
I'm not sure if I would say I'm seeing it more. It's about the same. And they're really kind of waiting until, let's say, a certain area is starting to be developed more, that they start looking at infrastructure and updating infrastructure and doing that. But I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say it's anything noticeable.
Not a big
Yeah.
proactive item.
Yeah, it's not as proactive, as we all want it to be. It's more reactive, but
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not really a change on that side.
Yeah, and it sounds like Bellevue seems to drop a lot of the cost to the builders is a comment here.
Yeah, matter of fact, I'll say the last builder meeting that I was in, that was really all that was discussed was there's a area that's it's central district that comes into like Madison, so almost to Capitol Hill, and a bunch of builders got hit with expanding sewer and water, where they've had to like pay for shutting down Madison Street for blocks, and they're doing it to expand because people are developing there a lot, but they're hitting all the builders right now. So it's not something that's spread out over the lots in some sort of fee. It's you've got a 8-unit site going. Well, it's 120,000 for water, where it used to be you could just plug into water. So they've definitely fought the city, and there's attorneys involved and everything else in that. Not much you can do on those other than fight it or pay it.
Awesome, wonderful. We've got like 4 minutes left. Is there anybody that has any other questions? You want to drop it in the chat, or feel free to briefly unmute yourself. If there was something I missed, my apologies. But this is really great. Really great. Selena, did you have something? I know Selena does a lot of building as well.
Yeah. Recently I just purchased a property in Linwood, Snohomish County, which is multi-family as well, built fit in up to like 4 units. I try to find someone can get me through how the building like permit process. Right now, I only just did the critical area and the survey.
So you're trying to find somebody that would permit those areas?
Yeah.
There's people out there. What area were you talking about? Shoreline? Is that what I heard?
Two, one in Shoreline, another in Snohomish County.
And Snohomish. So
Yeah.
they're definitely. I mean, there are places. Usually, they're associated with the architects that run plans and permits, help you with zoning and everything else for that. If you send an email over to Lisa, I'll start looking in and seeing who does that for a fee. The builders that I have, they all run them in-house. They have somebody, they've hired people, and some of them do hire out. I would just have to find out who those guys were, and then I can give you that contact for that. But there's definitely people out there. I don't know a lot of them other than the ones that work for, let's say, Blueprint or Legacy or Ashworth or any of the big builders, big infill builders that I have. They're in-house guys, but I know that there's people out there that do it. I'll have to find it. It might take me an hour or so to find out and give you a couple contacts to call.
Yeah, I just need somebody to take care of them. I can focus on.
Yeah, no, that was a good question.
All right.
I will say before we end, and I'm just reading, I wanted to make sure because my assistant who couldn't be on the call today, she had to, I'm going to call her, she's my work mother, I guess. She was the one telling me, now make sure you stay to the list and don't get too wordy. She knows me well. And I feel like I've tried, but I will say this last question that I don't know, Lisa, if you've given it to everybody, it's just me, but Out of all these, I feel like I've answered a lot of these questions to a lot of people in my lifetime, but the number 8 one was very interesting one. If I had $10 million to invest in Seattle, where would you put it and why? And I've been thinking about that one more than probably the other ones, because I knew what I was going to say on those. I will say my favorite spot right now that I think has the biggest upside in King County is Burien to West Seattle, Burien to White Center.
White Center.
I grew up in that area, and it was rough when I grew up there. It still has some issues, but the restaurants that are coming in and the multicultural people that are moving in there, that I love this neighborhood. And we were just looking at investing in a 4-unit apartment down there for it. And I like Burien to White Center. It's my favorite little area. I like driving through it. I like the real estate in it. I think the pricing is really good there now. And I think it's going to really start coming up here in the next 10 years.
Nice.
There's my 2 cents.
Guys, hope you got that as a note.
Yep. And there's your farm.
Yeah.
Let's go compete against Mr. Stanwood. Well, good. Well,
wonderful.
I just want to thank you, Mike, from the
My
bottom of
pleasure.
my heart, because you're amazing. I hope you all got something out of it. And the goal is to educate you, get you profitable, and also know that Chicago Title is absolutely your partnerships and the resources we have. Don't lose sleep over it. Just give me a call. And if I can't do it, I'll be honest. And if I can do it, we'll pound the pavement hard for you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. I'm enlightened. I've learned quite a bit, to be honest with you. So I really appreciate your time
My
and
pleasure.
spending with us.
Thanks,
All right.
guys. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Good luck. Let's have a great year.
Yep.
You
Thanks,
too.
everybody.
You too. Oh, and team who's still on the line, we do have tomorrow at Tukwila office, we have our business planning. So anybody that is in the area available from 10 to 2, we have business planning from 10 to 2. Let's get this new year started off right with some goals. All right, have a good one, guys.